going to be making two really cute cards. We're going to be using the Seasons of Fun stamp set. And for the first card, we're going to make a thank you card, and we'll use the Peaceful Place Designer Series paper. And for the second card, it's a Christmas card, and we're going to be using the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. The stamp set and the Designer Series paper are found in the mini catalog. Hi, I'm Joan Heberlein, and I created this video for Joan Simple Papercrafts, found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a second so I can turn the camera down and we can get started. Here's the Seasons of Fun stamp set, and we're going to be doing these two scenes down here. And we've got this one right here, where we've got our little boy or girl pulling a sleigh that has a Christmas tree on it, and it says Merry Christmas, and inside says warming thoughts to you this season. And we'll do that one second, so we'll come back to that. We're going to work on this one here, and this one I have it as a thank you so much. What I did is I stamped the dog first, then I masked him, and I masked the boy with the tree, and I found where the tree was supposed to be, and I stamped everything but the boy. And inside is blank because it's a thank you note. So we'll do this first then. I'll just set that aside. So what we need first is a 5.5 by 11 inch card. Yes, I said 5.5 inches by 11 because we're going to make this into the tree fold fun fold card. So for what we need to do next is score it at 3 3 3/8. And I really love this trimmer because it has a scoring blade on here, and it has our trimming blade. I'm just going to bring that up to show you. And it can move it all the way out of the way so we don't have to take it off the track. I just move it down on the track so it's not in our way. And then we just use the scoring blade. And there is measurements on both sides of the track. So we can measure up to 1.5 inches on the right and up to 17.5 inches on the left, because there's a retractable arm here that gives you more length to it. So that works really nice. The next one is 3 3/8, and I'm just going to flip it over to do that. So that should give me the same amount from each edge. And then next we want to do is we want to take, let's go ahead and burnish that first. I am going to fold this in, and I'm going to burnish it on both sides to get a nice crisp edge. And we'll do that on the other side as well. And again, burnish it on both sides to get a nice crisp edge. And now that we have that, we're also going to do a little more cutting because we need to get this fold here, this cut out of here, and then this angle cut down here. So how we do that is we take it, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to use that 1.5 inch measurement on the right. So I'm going to bring this fold line right to the track, and then move this point to the 1.5 inch fold line. And I'm not sure if you can see that. I think you've got it. And I need to make sure that's all there. And we are going to cut. I need to just roll that out of the way. That was our scoring blade. And I rolled it gently out of the way so it didn't do any scoring there. Just checking my position again. And we're cutting. And it didn't look like it caught it up here. So let me just take a look. And I think I'm going to just leave that. It's off a little bit, but I don't want to move it and have it be worse because it was just a hair off, and it's difficult to get the hair to work through this blade. So the next cut, we take, so here we got our cardstock, and so we've got this cut made, and then we're going to take this point and put it in the track and tilt it to bring the bottom up to 1 inch now. So it's from the cut point, this is where we cut it, and then this is the 1 inch mark. And I am just going to double check my positioning and go ahead and score, or cut it. And that seems to work. And I am going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take our fold line here. Right, here's a fold line. And that needs to go at the 1/2 inch mark, 1 1/2 inches. So right here's where it's going, 1 1/2 inches. And just getting that cutting line set up there in the track in the 1 1/2 inches. And there we're going to go. And then we need to score the bottom ones. We're taking this point here, that's the last cut we made, and we're going to rotate it to 1 inch. Just want to make sure you can see it, so I'm sliding it up a little bit. And I'm looking in the track. We've got this point in the track, and we've got this at 1 inches. So we're going to score. I keep saying score. We're going to slice it with the trimmer blade. There we go. Now my blade did leave a mark, so this has a little raised edge. So I'm just going to take my scoring blade and just go over that, burnish it to get those little edges out of the way. And this is where it did it mostly. It was on this piece, this line right here. So there, that's good. Then we need to do the same thing with our designer series paper. So we cut this at 3 1/4. So that's where I had that figure before. We were using 3 3/8 before. So we've got it at 3 1/4 now. So we're only shortening up by 1/8 of an inch. And then we're also taking it at 5 1/4. And that's our normal cut. So we're going to take, okay, here's our plate, our fold here. And so we're going to take this point here and put this on the 1 1/2 inch mark. So 1 1/2, and I still need to make that get up there. Just need to jiggle it around a little bit till you get to the right position. And then we take this point, that's that second cut we made, and make this point at the 1 inch. And I just realized I used the snowflake. So we'll reverse these. They'll be reversed images. The snowflake will be, then the fold will be on the top, and then we'll put the other one on the bottom. So this one we're going to use on the right hand side. So we need to take this point up here, and then the bottom, this point is going to be 1.5, and I'm going to just do it on this side of the track. I just wanted to show you that I can do it either way. And then I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to take this, and we're going to take this second cut right here and bring that up here, and we're going to take the bottom point down to 1 inches. And I'm going to reline that up, make sure we got everything in the track and at the 1 inch mark, and it is. And we're going to cut again. That may not be exact. We can always trim it up, but that's going to be very close to being exact. It's just how fussy you're going to be. So this one's off a little bit. Let's see if I can get this one lined up a little bit better. So I am going to take my pencil and we're going to mark it so we know where we're going to get it a little bit better. And I'll just take that in right about here. Okay. Okay, so I marked it here, so, and then we're going to match it with the line mark down here. And let me get it up here where you can actually see it. So I marked it here, and then down here, just 1/16 of an inch off from the bottom, but this is 1/8 of an inch off up at the top. And if I do that, that should be perfect then. So let's bring our trimmer back in. And let's see if we can't get that to line up properly. Well, that worked. And let's see how it lines up now. That looks perfect. I've got a pencil mark I want to erase. One on the cardstock and one up here. Okay. So let's just trim or glue that down right away since it's perfect right now. And let me bring my silicone mat in. This will protect my work surface. They're liquid glue, CO Plus, tear and tape. They won't stick on that. It'll just dry, and then you can just peel it off when it's dry. I use the liquid glue so that I can do some wiggle room, and particularly when we're matching these odd angles. I would probably have difficulties using the tear and tape at this point in time. And I am going to just use my bone folder to just get out any air bubbles, and that will get all the excess glue squeezed out. And it needs to come down a little bit. Yeah. Let's see if I can get this. I may have to adjust this one the same way as I did the other one. So I've got that going there correctly. And then this one is going to have to come in that 1/8 of an inch again. And just a hair down here. My first card didn't come out exactly, but that one was a lot easier. All I had to do was trim off the back side of it. This one I have to change it, do an angle cut. I am going to turn it this way to do it, because I can hang on to it better this way. And slide it in a little bit more. And I think those are, yeah, we should be good there. So let's go ahead and cut. And I may have to do a little erasing on the here. I'm not sure. It might be just the next color of the cardstock. Okay, and not sure if it's folded up the wrong way or not. Okay. I don't know if there's any erasing on this that needs to be done. It doesn't appear so. So now it looks just about perfect. It's good enough for me. So I'm just going to put the glue on here. And this bottle's just about empty. I'll just wipe that up with my finger there quick. And we'll glue this down. All right. That's pretty good. And then we will glue down the center piece because we're not going to stamp that, so we can just glue that down right away. And I'll use more of the same glue. I'm using this glue in the bottle, but it is actually this multi-purpose glue that you can get in our catalog. And I just put it in this needle nose bottle, and you can get these at your craft stores. It allows me to use it mostly when I'm doing it on fine surfaces, very thin surfaces. But when I'm doing cards that I have to maybe use some wiggle room there, I'll probably just use this same bottle rather than bouncing back and forth from the bottle. This one does have 2 tips to it though. There is a pen tip, and then there is a broad tip. Okay, let's get this glued down. And we're leaving an 1/8 of an inch border around the edge at the top and at the bottom, and then at the 2 sides. I don't know if you can see it at the sides because of the coloring of the paper. So I am going to do it on this side just as to make sure that I got all the glue bubbles out. Then next we need to cut is our piece here, and on the piece we did here we cut a tag. So So I did another tag, and we used our tailor-made tags for that. And it's the largest one in there. And I pre-cut that just to save us some time. And then I also pre-cut a snowflake, because we used a white snowflake. And we use this die here. And it is, I think, the second from the smallest die. I think that's our smallest, and then this one's the next one up. And I actually did it on some brushed silver paper. So I think we have some brushed foil in there. You can try using that. The first one I did on white cardstock. That would work as well. And then I had painted it with our Winkastella on that one. So I'm going to try the silver this time around. I think it's going to look really nice. So what we need to do is we need to stamp this piece here, and we've got to mask it while we're stamping it. So many snowflake dies, and then the sentiment is thanks so much. Thank you so much right here. I'm looking for my stamps. Here they are. So we wanted to have some stamps here. And I've got the small one for the dog. And then I've got this larger one to mask off the boy pulling the sled. So what I do is I will stamp the dog first using the Memento ink. And then we'll come back and we'll stamp the tree onto the paper. But we'll have to stamp the entire image in order to get the tree. And here's our dog. And I just have this on the back. I've got where I Stampin' Up on one side, and I put the dog on the other. That's what you're seeing. And I am just going to put it in the bottom right hand corner, and then lift it straight up. And I am just going to stamp it off here, and then when I finish stamping the other one, we'll bring in our Stampin' Scrub. So this one, I really only need to stamp this part, but I am going to mask off the dog. And I don't really need to do that, but I am going to do it because I'm trying to align where he's walking on here. So I want to line the footpaths pretty much there. It looks like we got him walking lower. And then I'm just going to ink up the tree. And I got some on his hair, so good thing we have the mask there. So we've got the tree, and what I want to do is I want to line up the rope there so that we can cut off the bottom of the rope. I might have to get my head in there. Sorry about that. And it is way too far over, so let me come back here. We did a lot better that time. We took off part of the front part of the sled, but that's okay. I'm going to take this off here. because I know it was a sled, but now it just looks like he's sitting on a piece of wood out there. So we'll stamp off on this. I think we got one more stamp to do. Let's do that right away. We're going to do thank you so much. And we'll do that right up here. Oops, stuck to the paper. Yeah, I should have had this all down a little bit lower because not a lot of sky left on the paper for the snowflakes to come down. So okay, let's go ahead and stamp off these right now. And I've already wetted this up from doing our demo cards, so I can just do this real quick and be done with it. I'm going to just get these out of the way. So what we need to do next is color that. So we will do the tree with the old olive, dark old olive, and I'm going to use the nub and just do lines right on top of the branches. And I'm just doing one line out. Not really adding any color or any dimension, but you can see it. And so the tree is done now. And then we need to do the sled, and that is with the dark cinnamon cider. And I'm just going to go through on the back base part and then up there. And then I'm actually going to come back with dark smoky slate and just come right underneath the bag that has the tree in it. So what that does is gives it a little shadow effect where the tree is sitting. Then the next thing we'll have is our, let's do the star. And that's just going to be our light mango melody. Yeah, we can do this. Star's done. And then we have our bag for the tree. And that's going to be our light real red. I'm trying to keep it inside the lines. I don't want it to go past the lines because it will bleed a little bit. And I don't want the red to bleed because red's kind of a hard color to cover up. So the next thing we want is our dark real red, and we're going to just outline. So on inside of the lining of the bag that's on the bag, and at the bottom of the bag, the bow, and then those hash marks. So it's like a patch on the bags. And then I'm actually going to do some shading on the left side of the bag. We're going to come back with our light real red and just blend it a little bit. Just waiting a few seconds to let it evaporate a little bit more. Okay, so I think that's done. We will want to come back with our dark real red and do the lines in the scarf. And we'll start on the outer edge, and we'll skip every other line. And we'll start at the top and skip every other line. And then for the next thing, we'll use our light real red, and we'll do his tongue. And then we're going to take our dark Smokey slate and do the remaining portion of the scarf. And then we're going to use our light Smokey slate to do the dog, and then we'll come back with the dark to give them some shadowing effects. And I'm going to use a broader marker for right now, broad end tip. And then I'm going to just go and take the dark end, and I'll use the nub small tip, and I'm going to give some shadowing effect down behind his ear, all underneath his chin, and then on his bottom part of his paws, and then along his collar, and along his back and his butt, and then the bottom part of his legs again, and then we're going to do his belly. Do a little bit more on the belly. And then I'm just going to come back with the light Smokey slate and blend that all in. We'll do little circles. I think I'm going to use the other tip to get it in these legs here. I'm using the broad end tip now, still the light smoky slate, just bringing it into the dark and pulling it back out into the lighter section, and that's blending it into so you don't see any lines. Very well done. So what I did on the last card is I left this flappable. So I only put glue on the top part, and I actually used the Seal Plus. So that's the strong seal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. And I did just 2 strips along here. And I'm going to bring out my silicone mat again. Provided I can find it. So just 1 and 2. That's all. I think I might have done 3. We're going to do 3. And then we're going to reverse this because I cut the paper in the opposite direction. And what I do is I lay it down, keeping this line parallel with this line here. That's just something I came up with. You can put it down however you want, but I like the idea of having it angled. And I'm having it run off the edge down here. And then we have this snowflake. That's the die cut. We'll put that away soon. We'll have the snowflake we'll want to put on here. And I'll put him on with our glue dots. So that should keep him in place then. And I'm actually going to roll it up. And I'll use 2 of them. And let's get the other one. And I'll just put it on there. Oh, we should have put our snowflakes on. Let me see if I can just pull that up. Because we've got our snowflakes we want to stamp on there yet. Yeah, it's going to let me take it up. It's forgiving. So let me go ahead and get our snowflake stamp, and we're going to use gray granite. Oh no, we're going to use smoky slate. Sorry, that's not the darkest gray. So we'll use this, and we are going to try and get one to look like it's falling into the dog's mouth. I'm not sure if we'll be able to accomplish that. I've got a little ink on the edge of the stamp, so I'm just wiping that off. And try and get it straight down rather than, not too bad there. So I'm just going to stamp down. Yeah, you don't even see it at all on the thank you part. And I'll stamp down up here. Let's see. And then one more up here. And I think I can even do some down here. We'll get some down here by this one all by himself, so he's not quite so lonely. And I don't want to go on to the other paper, so I'm just going to mask off the rest of them. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Let me see this way. There, I think that worked. So I think we are done with that one. And let me just put these things away and we'll come back. I almost forgot our snowflake. Let me see if I can get him back on here. Now he's done. Okay, this is our next card, and we use the Merry Christmas from the For On To Us Cling Stamp Set, and then we're also going to use Sending Love and Christmas Cheer from the Delivering Cheer. This card used Warming Thoughts to You This Season, but I'm going to change it up on our next card. Let me get our paper in here. We will start with this piece. It's 4 1/4 by 11. We have it scored at 2 inches, 3 3/4 inches, 7 1/4 inches, and 9 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and score those right now. I'll do the inner ones first. And I'm going to burnish them on both sides to make sure I get a nice crisp edge. And we'll do this one next. And then we do this one, and that's going to be a reverse, so it goes back this way. And do the same thing with this one. We're going to reverse it from the other fold. All right, so those meet really nice there. That's great. Next we want to bring in our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's going to be our base card. And what we will do is we'll glue this down on top of it. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to glue these designer series papers onto the side, because then I only have a little space to center the rest of the card on. So I think that works best that way. And I am going to use my liquid glue to get this on here. Whoop. Glue all over the place. I filled the bottle while I was changing out the cards. All right. And I am going to get this on here first. And I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch on each edge, except for this edge here, but It's a little bit crooked, but that should work okay. And then let's get our next piece down. Didn't want that to happen. Okay, let me bring in my glue again. And then we'll put it on here, leaving 1/8 of an inch around the edges. Then we can put down this one here, and I am going to put it down with glue because it's just so much easier to wiggle it into place. I tried the first card, I put it down with Seal Plus, and I had to straighten it out, and it was difficult to get the Seal Plus off the card, you know, to have it released so I could recenter it. So hopefully this will work a lot easier. And I am just going to center this down here. Got the bottom centered. And I got it up at the top. That's 1/8 of an inch, and that's 1/8 of an inch. That worked a lot easier than gluing just this down on red. It's much easier having these side strips on there already. So let me get this down flat. So next we're going to put on our side panels, and those are 1 3/4 inches by 4 inches, 2 of them. And I'm just going to stick with the glue. And try to leave 1/8 of an inch around on the borders. And I am going to just use my bone folder to flatten that glue out. And we'll do the same thing with this card. I'm going to put it down, leaving 1/8 of an inch for a border. And now I want to bring this up to just make sure that it's close to being matching. And it is. So that worked really well. And then we'll want to stamp our inner card, and that's going to be Sending Love and Christmas Cheer. We're going to do that in our Memento ink. That'll look really nice. And I'm just going to leave it off-centered from top to bottom and pulling it straight up. That worked very good. We'll stamp the outer sentiment in just a minute. I am going to stamp this off here, and we'll stamp that with the Stampin' Scrub in a minute too. So let's get this on here. And I'm just going to flatten those down, and because we want to have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, definitely from top to bottom, and then on right and left side as well. Wiggled a little bit, so let's see if I can wiggle it back. All right, and we're just getting all the glue flattened out from underneath, and I am actually going to turn it over and flatten on this side as well. So next we'll want to do our sentiment that we put on the front, and we're going to actually stamp this with the little girl in her coat and the tree and the Merry Christmas, and then we will color that in before we glue that on to the card. So we will use a Memento ink, and I'm going to stamp it a little lower than I did the other card. That'll give me more room for the Merry Christmas. So, learning something with each card. And I'm going to stamp it this way rather than applying the stamp to the stamp pad. I'm going to apply the stamp pad to the stamp. I think that's good. And we're going to put it down lower. And then just raise it up. And I'm going to stamp this off as well. And we'll do our Merry Christmas now, and then we can get our stamps cleaned off and get everything out of the way. And let's bring our Stampin' Scrub back out. Well, I did use some WD-40 on my chair, and it is still squeaking. So I'm going to have my husband take a look at it and see if he can't figure out why it's squeaking still. So I apologize for that noise that we get every now and then when I'm moving around on the chair. Like that noise there. So now we're going to just color this in, and we'll start with the tree, and we'll use our dark Old Olive, and we'll color the branches on the tree. And the branches are just, basically it's just a stick tree. So I am just doing a line for the branch, just to give it some color. And then I'm do the center portion to give it a little color too. And the tree's done. Well, not the tree. The branches are done. We will do the star next. That's done. Next we will do our bag, and I do that with a light real red, and I'll use the large brush on that one. I'm trying not to go all the way up to the black edge because it could bleed out beyond the edge, and red is so difficult to push back in. If we do have problems where you go out of the line, we have this color lifter, and that works really good. So that's color's not quite done. That's why I didn't clip it off, close it all the way with a click. And so now I'm just going to go around the edge. I'll give it some shading on the left side. And then I'm actually going to do the hash marks onto the patch that's on the bag. And then I'm going to do the ribbon. And so that, I think I'm done with the red for now. And then we were going to go back against the red with the light real red. And we're going to pull from the red, dark red into the light. So that will get rid of those lines and blend it. And next we're going to take our dark cinnamon cider, and we're going to do the bottom of the sled. And then I am going to actually take my dark Smokey Slate, and I'm going to make a shadow of the tree where it's sitting on the sled here. So I'm just doing a little Smokey Slate just to give it a little bit of shadowing effect there where the tree meets the sled. Next we want to do the little girl. So let's do her face first. And we're going to use our petal pink, the light petal pink. And we will color her in. And I don't mind going up into the hair, because there's no coloring up there right now, so it's not going to mess anything up going up there. Then we're going to come in with our dark petal pink and give her a little coloring in her cheeks, but I want to just wait just a few more seconds for the alcohol just to evaporate a little bit. Give her a little color in her cheeks. And I'm not going to go back over that with our light petal pink. I want her to see those cheeks because she's outside and it's cold, so she's getting pink cheeks. Next we're going to do is our hat, and that's going to be the dark real red. Actually, we'll start with the light real red, and we will blend it into the dark. And we'll actually blend the dark into the light again. So this is light right now. And I'm staying away from the edge of the hat again so that it doesn't bleed out. I'm using this large marker. It's easily pushing the color in the wrong direction. Okay. And I have a lot to do with this yet, but I'm not going to clip it off. I just capped it a little bit, not tight. And then this is the dark, and I've got the small nub, and I'm just going to color this in here. Then we're going to just go through these lines over them. And I'm going to go around the hat, and I'm going to color in the left side of the hat about a quarter of the way in. Then we've got a couple squiggly lines there in the middle, and then there's some squiggly lines on the left. And I'm going to do the bottom line. And the next bottom line. And then we're going to come back with the real red, the light real red. And let that evaporate. So I'm in the dark, and I'm going to push it into the light area. Come back from the dark side into the light. Then we're done with that. We've got her legs we need to do, and we'll do that with the light real red. And then I'm just going to come back with the dark real red and just go over those lines. And I'm going to shade it on the left. So about a quarter of an inch in. Not a quarter of an inch, quarter of the section. And then we'll come back with the light real red, pulling from the light over to the, pulling from the dark over to the light section. And now I went out of the lines right here, but we're going to use a dark moss or dark old olive on that, and that should take care of that portion. That's went out. Next we're going to use our dark cinnamon cider on her hair, and we'll just use the nub, and just, we won't put any shading in here. We're just going to just do some light strokes. They're got to be tiny strokes because there's not a whole lot of hair there. Okay. We might be done with this color for now. And we're going to come back with our red, and we're going to use the dark real red on the scarf. And we're going to do every other stripe. So we're going to start with red. And then we'll do the same thing going down the scarf. So dark first, then a white, and dark. And then what we'll do next is we'll use our dark smoky slate. And that should finish the scarf. And we're just going to fill in the leftover colors in the dark smoky slate. And I'm not going to do any shadowing on that because it'll mess up the pattern of the scarf. So next we have is our coat and our boots and her mittens. So we shall be using our light old olive and our dark old olive. And the light old olive will start with the broad tip pen. Just go over everything. So even the mittens, let's give it all the same color. And I am going to color the buttons a brown, but I'll cover them with the old olive right now. And we'll come back with the cinnamon cider. And that'll make it look more like a brown than cinnamon or green. The two will blend together and make a new color. Okay, so that's the light, and now we can start with the dark old olive and give it some shading effect. So first I'm going to do the cuff and her mittens. And we'll do the same thing with her pockets. They're going to just be dark. And we'll probably have to come back and do another coat. And her tops of her boots, we're going to have that be dark. And her bottom of the boots. And I'm going to shade them on the left side. And then we'll come back with the light old olive and blend that in. Okay. And we're going to come back with the dark old olive for the top part of the boot. And then we're going to give her some shading on the left side of the coat. Under her arms. A little bit on the right side and under her arms. And the bottom part of the coat. And along the scarf. And then we'll come back with the light old olive, and we will pull all of that down into the rest of the light section. And then next I'm going to go over with the dark olive just over the pockets and the mittens, just to give them a little more definition. Okay. And then we still have to do our buttons. That should be cinnamon cider. And then I'm just going to go over again. Okay, next we're going to do our star with our Wink of Stella. We'll wait till we get it on this cardstock. It's a little easier to work with that when it's already glued down. And we want to keep 1/8 of an inch around the borders, all the way around. And then we'll put that Wink of Stella on. Just a little shimmer on this tree here. And I don't know if I put it on this one. Let me see. Nope, we didn't put it on here, so let's get that on there as well. Actually, we wanted to do the snowflakes too, so let's go ahead and do that. As long as we have it right here. And then we can put this on with some dimensionals. And I think I will just get out the smaller ones And I am just going to measure where this halfway point is so I don't overkill on the dimensionals, because we only want to put them on 1/2 of it. And it's going to be this half, so and I am going to switch out sides. It works much easier with the other blade in to pick up the dimensionals, and then you can get the backing off of them as well. And they're only about, I think there's these mini dimensionals, I think you can get 2 for a penny. So that's why I do a little extra there. And then it gives me the peace of mind that the card will possibly make it through the rollers at the post office. Because I do usually mail all my cards rather than hand deliver them. So. And I'm just taking off the line in case it shows up on the other side. I'm going to peel these dimensionals, take the paper off the back. Get this out of the way. So we close this up, and we want to put it on the left half, kind of center it. Oop, one already stuck down. Let's get this centered. I am going to use this to keep those down right now. Yes. So I think we're done with these cards. Let's see if we can bring them back in. I hope you liked this project as much as I did. As you can see, it would work great with just about any sentiment stamp set. Couldn't you see this Merry Christmas over here? That'd be so cute. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji. That means you like it. And would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. I'm here to help in any way that I can. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or would like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Mark your calendars. I'll be back Wednesday, October 13th at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing something fall-like. I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.